Okay, I don't usually do this, but I just spent the last couple days going down a Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 rabbit hole, watching a stack of breakdowns from different creators, and something feels different this time. Not new monster different. I mean the way the teasers are structured, the way the ARG is being fed, the way multiple creators are reacting to the same type of detail. It feels like we're not being teased a chapter, it feels like we're being led somewhere. And I don't think the community has fully clocked what that somewhere is yet. So today I'm going to do something simple. I'm going to walk you through the big pattern I noticed, using moments pulled from a handful of videos I watched from creators like Thinknoodles, Copper60, Sheeprampage, and PoppyTheory. And I'm not going to do the vague, this changes everything thing. I'm going to tell you what was shown, where it came from, why people reacted, and what it might actually mean when you connect the dots. Here's the problem with Chapter 5 right now. If you watch one video, it feels like cool teaser. If you watch two videos, it feels like ARG starting. But when you watch multiple creators cover different parts of the same marketing drop, you start seeing the same objects and same phrases repeating, and that's when it stops feeling random. That's when it starts feeling like a trail. So let's start with what kicked off a lot of Chapter 5 ARG is starting talk. In Copper60's breakdown, he talks about this teaser image Mob dropped, the one with the VHS tapes on a table. And he points out a few things that are so easy to scroll past, but they matter. One, the tapes literally say for lab use only. That's not a cute prop, that's location confirmation. Labs, Chapter 5. Two, there are scratch marks on the table. And Copper60 mentions how everyone immediately starts guessing who made those. Some people think prototype fingers, some people think Boxy Boo. But Copper60 throws a different angle. The scratch marks are small, so maybe it's that new orange character teased in the prototype trailer, the one labeled Experiment 122. And whether you agree with that theory or not, the real point is this. That teaser image is doing two jobs at once. It's not just VHS tapes exist, it's VHS tapes exist in the labs and something with claws has been here. That's not lore, that's foreshadowing gameplay plus threat. And it matters because later in other videos, we start seeing a pattern of old media becoming the delivery method for lore. Copper60 also talks about that opening scene leaked post. Now, I'm not treating that as confirmed, but I am treating it as useful because it shows what kind of direction the community and creators are preparing for. A chase sequence right away, Huggy being described as filled with anguish, and the weirdest part, the idea that Huggy might assist the player at some point. Even if that turns out wrong, it's interesting that the marketing drops and teaser language keep pushing this vibe. Huggy isn't just a monster anymore. He's a piece of the story. And that leads into Thinknoodles ARG videos where Huggy's presence becomes extremely specific. Now we jump to Thinknoodles because his coverage is where the ARG starts feeling less like fun puzzle and more like somebody is leaking a dead company's secrets. He walks through how a user on Discord named Seeing Reason appears with a weird Playtime Co. role. Not a Mob Games role, but Playtime Co., and starts asking about the old Playtime account and secret notes from the past. And the tone is important. Seeing Reason isn't screaming ARG. They're talking like a person stuck in a situation. They even drop a date from their machine, 1/20/2004, which is way after the Hour of Joy timeline. So the implication becomes someone's on an old system, digging into old files years after the factory went silent. Then Seeing Reason posts stuff I found.zip. And this is where the ARG goes from cool to wait, what? Because it's not just a zip with a text file. It's a zip containing files that behave wrong. Thinknoodles opens a file called Lullaby Room, no extension. People figure out that if you rename it as a PDF, it opens, and it's labeled like a rejected Playtime item entry. But then he does the second step. Rename the same file as .mp4, and it plays a corrupted video. So the file is both a PDF and a video depending on the extension. That is such a weird, deliberate choice from the ARG team because it does something psychologically. It tells you right away, you can't trust formats. You can't trust surfaces. This whole ARG is about hidden layers. And Thinknoodles even pauses and says, basically, I don't know how you do this. That's the point, because the ARG is trying to make you feel like you're messing with something you're not supposed to understand. And inside that corrupted MP4, he starts noticing repeating digits like 000001, letters like XXXY, XXX, and frames with Huggy and a screaming person. Meaning this isn't just creepy, it's probably part of the password trail for the other file. So now we have a structure. File 1, here's the concept plus a teaser. File 2, here's the lock you can't open yet, which leads to rejected items and wrong side out. In the PDF text itself, Thinknoodles reads lines about the item being rejected for poor focus testing and bad brand alignment, and then the key phrase, wrong side out. He immediately connects it to that experiment concept where fur is inside out, the design is reversed, basically inside out. Now here's why this matters when you connect it to another creator. PoppyTheory's videos talk about how multiple new character names in toy lines are being branded under wrong side out. So you've got the ARG file screaming wrong side out, and you've got marketing and trademark talk from other channels tying toy lines to that same wording. That's not accidental. That's Mob making wrong side out a theme, not just a monster gimmick, a theme, which starts sounding like reversal, hidden truth, inside becoming outside. And if that's the theme, the ARG isn't teasing monsters, it's teasing the truth of what the toys are. Then Thinknoodles watches Restricted Conditioning 1990, and whether you like Catnap or not, this is one of the most uncomfortable things they've dropped, because the scene is basically showing a child experiment, identified as 1188, being sent for reconditioning after an incident that killed staff. And then the key emotional beat. Catnap is asked their name. They don't respond. They're pushed, they're forced, they start breaking. And by the end, the treatment outcome successful line basically implies they fully embrace the Catnap identity. This is where the tone of Chapter 5 changes, because it confirms out loud these weren't just toys that became monsters. This was identity replacement. A human name erased, a brand identity stapled on top. And that instantly makes earlier games feel darker in hindsight, because now every time you see a smiling mascot name, there's a question under it. What name got buried to make that mascot? Now we jump to Sheeprampage because he covers a totally different lane, the U-log and the hidden teaser behavior. He explains that Mob dropped this Poppy Playtime U-log, basically a background fireplace video, but loaded with weird stuff. At certain timestamps, you hear music that sounds like Sleep Well or intro-style audio. At one point, you hear distorted voices like mommy, daddy type fragments. A character silhouette appears near the fire and then leaves. And later, that star walkie-talkie device turns on and makes a smiley face. Then, Sheeprampage points out the second teaser where the star device displays a light alert and emits a purple glow like a block light. And he suggests that this isn't just a prop, it might be a gameplay mechanic. Like the star device detects hidden writing, you toggle the light and it reveals messages. Now, whether or not that exact mechanic is right, the bigger point is this. Multiple teasers keep pushing the hidden layer reveal concept again and again. PDF becomes video, audio becomes code, objects become keys. Everything is about hidden information. Sheeprampage also goes deep on the Christmas art. And again, you don't have to buy every interpretation, but you should pay attention to what Mob is repeatedly placing in the background. Tarot-style cards like the Fool and Ten of Swords, strange rune symbols, the prototype peeking from a window, and that weird baseball on a device thing that keeps showing up across multiple art drops. Whether the baseball device is a weapon, a tool, or a puzzle item, Mob is showing it multiple times for a reason. So if you're thinking, why do we keep seeing the same weird props? That's why. Mob isn't hiding random stuff. They're rehearsing your brain to recognize objects. So when you see it in game, you immediately go, oh, that thing matters. Now, Poppy Theory's video takes a different approach. It's not ARG files, it's trademarks and development signals. He goes through newly revealed character names like Goober Guts, Loopy Noodle, Blanky Blanks, Bindle Boogie, Bubby Chums, Dizzy Boo, and Doodle Bones. And his key point is actually smart. Not every trademark name means main villain. Some could be world building, toys that exist to make Playtime Co. feel like a real catalog. Which matters because people keep doing this thing where they see a name and go, new monster confirmed. But Mob might be doing, toy line exists, lore expands, environment feels real. That would also match the rejected item PDF idea. Because a rejected toy still exists in Playtime's history, it just wasn't successful. That's world building, that's catalog logic. Then, in Poppy Theory's Halloween teaser breakdown, he points out the right side of the art where a hand is grabbing the tree. People argue if it's human or toy. He even jokes about it being human even though it has 4 fingers and the community flames him. But the important part is what he does next. He connects it to new trademark names like Ragback, Gutter Plush, and he suggests that the voodoo doll face seen in other teasers might be one of these. So again, Mob drops art, community finds a detail, then trademarks appear that might match the design language. That's the pattern. So here's what I think is happening, based only on what these creators covered. Chapter 5 marketing isn't about here's a monster, get hyped. It's about information warfare. It's about buried media, corrupted files, hidden layers, and identity replacement. And if that's true, then Chapter 5 might be the first chapter where the horror isn't just a toy chasing you. It's the realization that the toys are evidence. And someone, whether it's Seeing Reason or someone behind that role, is trying to get the evidence out before whatever is still alive down there stops it. In the next video, I want to focus on the what does this mean for gameplay angle, because between the VHS tapes, the star device, and all the repeated props, it feels like Chapter 5 might play differently than we're expecting. But for now, I want to ask you one thing. Out of everything I mentioned, what's the creepiest part to you? The dual format file, the Catnap conditioning, or the idea that wrong side out is the theme of the entire chapter? Drop it in the comments. And yeah, if you're here for Chapter 5 coverage like this, subscribe, because we're not even close to the last drop.